In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the most powerful personal development teaching that I have ever found, probably equally as powerful as meditation and as reading hundreds of books. So those two are probably my favorite personal development teachings. This third one that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is extremely powerful, and it is going to help you to organize your life in a way that you're actually living in alignment with your highest self. So practically what that means is that when you apply this teaching in your life, you understand how it works, you apply it on a moment-to-moment basis, you're going to see transformational results in the quality of your mood, in the results that you get in your business, in your relationships, in your spiritual growth, in your ability to process your emotions, and just overall enjoy your life. Now, why can I make this claim? Well, I've studied hundreds of different personal development systems and practices. For the last 6 or 7 years, I've tested literally hundreds of different personal development practice, different ways and strategies to organize your life. And what I've discovered is that this specific system that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video is by far the most powerful way to organize your life. So like on a daily basis, what you actually do during the day, if you follow this system, I promise you'll see transformational results. And also, I've been actually giving this to my coaching clients and having them test it in their lives as well. And within a couple weeks, I talk to them every week, after a couple weeks of them applying the principles that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, I see a transformative change in the quality of their energy. I'm talking massive releases of just the actual way that they show up on the Zoom call, way more calm, way more excited, way more passionate, way more motivated, more relaxed, more authentic in the way that they express. So this is a very powerful system. I've tested it for myself. I've gotten fantastic results. Also, with my clients I've tested, they've gotten fantastic results, and I'm excited to share it with you here. So what is this system? And first, I need to give you some context for how I discovered this. So like I mentioned, I study hundreds of different personal development teachers, and one of the core principles that I use to gather information and test to see what works, the core principle that I use is called radical open-mindedness. I learned this from one of my first mentors, Leo Gura. He teaches this kind of concept of, it's really an attitude to the way you go about searching for new information, the way you go about learning and building a worldview. Because you're here, you're alive on Earth, you're going to need to understand conceptually first what life is, how life works, what are some of the best ways to live life, how do I get the most out of my life. This is not obvious. This is not a given. If you just blindly trust what is given to you by your culture, by your parents, by religion, by science, by random YouTube videos that you find, and you trust their philosophy without putting too much thought into it, without taking this process of finding the truth, without taking this process seriously, then you're going to live a terrible life. And that's exactly what happened to me when I was 16, just kind of blindly, living life. I found myself in my room playing video games all day, chasing pleasure, smoking weed all day, and being lost, having no clue how to live the best life possible. So Leo Gura was one of my first teachers that I found. He helped to show me a lot of the principles of self-actualization. One of the principles is that you actually have to figure out for yourself, not just blindly trusting other people, but you actually have to figure out for yourself, how do I live the best life possible? And how does one figure that out? Well, there's probably one of the best ways to do that. You can try this way out. The way that I've tried that's worked for me is just to read 200 plus books from the top authorities in topics such as personal development, success and productivity, emotional management, meditation, spiritual growth, law of attraction, philosophy. You can even go into science, evolutionary psychology, systems thinking. You can even go further into history, biographies, and you can even go into New Age stuff, esoteric stuff as well. So this gets us back to the principle of radical open-mindedness. So the reason why I would even be motivated to read 200 books is because I have to have the first position, which is that I don't know how life works. I don't know anything. This is the first position, and there's actually a logical reason for why this is the first position, because when you are born, when your body is shoved out of a birth canal, which is pretty amazing, when you're born and you're literally like you take your first breath on earth, the first position is that you don't know anything. You don't know your left hand from your right hand. You don't even know hand. You don't even know you. There isn't even a difference between subject and object. You're like a blank slate. And then on top of that blank slate, culture, parents, teachers kind of draw on all of their own ideas. And you absorb it blindly like a sponge. Because as a human being, the dilemma that we're in here is that we need to figure out how to survive. And we don't have too much time to philosophically question every single idea that our parents or that our teachers share with us. So when we're 2 to 5 years old, your brain just absorbs everything without question. So whatever your parents tell you, whatever your cultures tell you, you just kind of take that on as the truth. And then that becomes your operating system. That's like your core operating system. Those initial beliefs that you absorb when you're very young, that is like the context by which you interpret all new information that enters your field of experience. You need, as a human being, it's actually a survival need for you to have an interpretive framework. You need to have a basic framework of like, who am I? What planet am I on? What is this? What is reality? What are humans? What are other humans? What is life? You need to have answers to these questions so that you can actually survive in a social environment and feed yourself and make money and be safe and have relationships and so on. So the human beings, the way we survive, we're tribal creatures. We survive through collective agreement. We need to kind of all be on the same page so that we can survive as a tribe and meet our survival needs. And it's not only in tribes. This expands out to the level of entire societies, to whole countries. An entire country, in a way, is like a gigantic tribe, kind of like the whole world. So when we're young, we need to figure out what reality is. But we don't question any of these beliefs. So next thing we know, we're 16 years old, or we're 20 years old, or we're 30 years old. We have all these ideas about what life is, how to live the best life, how to be happy, how to get the most out of my life. But I'm not 100% sure if those beliefs are actually true. How do I know that what my dad told me about being happy or making money or being a good person, how do I know that his values are the right values? Or my school teacher or my priest or some scientist that I read in a textbook at school or saw a YouTube video? How do I know that other people's ideas for how to live are right? And what I find, actually, if you go into it and investigate like Socrates did in the ancient story in 2,000 years ago, the Oracle of Delphi told Socrates that he was the wisest man in all of Athens. And Socrates said, "What? No, that's impossible. How could I be the wisest man? There must be someone out there that's wiser than me." So Socrates went out searching far and wide, taking horses to go to different countries to ask the wise teachers and the wise sages who claimed to have all of the answers to life. And he went and he actually asked them about the answers to see if they're actually wise. And after this whole process, after talking to hundreds of people and questioning them and trying to see if they actually know the truth that they claim that they know, eventually Socrates discovered that a lot of people are full of shit. And that a lot of ideas that you'll get from other people who are telling you how to live, the best way to live, they don't really know. They're parroting things that they've heard from other people. They're relying too much on their ideology or their concept, but they're not actually investigating, trying to question their own beliefs to actually get to the core of this question of the first position. I don't know what's true. I don't know anything. I don't know reality or how it works, so I have to figure it out. So using these principles and this process of just not knowing, the first thing one would have to do is just study hundreds of different perspectives. Because you can't just say like, "Oh, I don't know," and then just like sit at home and like eat nachos. You can't say, "Oh, well, it's difficult for me to make sense of reality, so I'm not even gonna try. It's not even worth it." Because, see, if you take the first position of not knowing seriously, then you don't even know if it's worth it or not. This journey of reading hundreds of books and studying hundreds of different perspectives and being open-minded to all kinds of different perspectives. New Age ones talking about extraterrestrials and aliens, different religions, different spiritual systems and spiritual schools, different ideas, new ideas, and being very, very skeptical about it, but also taking it on as a temporary hypothesis and being open. What we're doing here is we're studying hundreds of perspectives because we're using this principle that Ken Wilber talked about, that nobody is 100% wrong. In each perspective you find, you can get a little kernel of truth from every single perspective. Even if, let's say, you read a book and maybe a lot of the information is not entirely correct, the thing is, you don't know what's correct and what's not correct. So how am I going to figure this out? Which parts of the book are right and which parts of the book are not right? Well, the only way that I've thought of, that Leo told me about, that makes logical sense to me, is to read hundreds of books, and then you kind of have to cross-reference and see the common patterns. You have to kind of triangulate the truth. So if you know how GPS navigation works, when you are getting your location in Google Maps, let's say, that connects to GPS. Pretty sure Google Maps connects to GPS. So if you're using a GPS, I was in the Army Cadets when I was younger, and they gave us like the actual like old like style like GPS systems, and they have to connect to 3 different satellites so that the satellites can triangulate your position. Because if you only connect to one satellite, then that there might be an interference. You might be wrong. Or if you only connect to 2 satellites, you're still not getting the full picture. But if you connect to 3 satellites, then you're triangulating your position. So in the same way, what we're trying to do with this process of understanding what life is and how life works, because if I want to live a good life, I want to know what life is and how life works. This is the basic shit here. This is basics. I need to know what life is and how life works. If I want to live a good one, then I have to triangulate the truth by studying hundreds of different perspectives. I need to see the commonalities. After you read, if you read 3 books, okay, you'll learn some cool information. But if you read 300 books from authorities, leading edge authorities in all the different fields, not just science, but all the fields that I mentioned, then what you're going to start to get is you're going to start to see deep principles and deep patterns of life. And now this goes beyond just blindly trusting what Adam says on the video, or just blindly trusting what this one person says. This is about actually acquiring wisdom, starting to see deep meta patterns of the nature of life and existence. We start to see very deep patterns. And when you align your life to these very deep principles, that's when you start to actually live the good life. That's one of the goals of philosophy, is to discover the truth for myself, not just to blindly trust what this one philosopher said and, just to pick my favorite philosopher and just, worship him. No, we need to find the truth for myself and embody it and see if it works in experience. We have to test it to see if it works. So on my journey of this reading hundreds of books, testing in my experience to see what works, I discovered a very cool spiritual teacher named Bashar. And what Bashar is actually is Bashar is a channeled entity that is channeled by the human being Darryl Anka. You can watch Bashar channels live online. And basically what happens is Darryl Anka aligns his energetic frequency, so he aligns his brain waves to be a vibrational match to the brain waves of this extraterrestrial being who is named Bashar. And since they match their brainwave frequency together, they are able to resonate on the same frequency, and Darryl is able to speak Bashar's thoughts through the process of channeling. Now you might not believe in channeling, even though it's an extremely well documented process that you can actually study. There's tons of documentation of channeling happening, like the Law of One, for example, like the actual Quran allegedly was channeled by Muhammad, like Conversations with God, for example, like A Course in Miracles. These are, I've actually literally read at this point maybe 30 or 40 books that are all channeled. Ones like enlightenment through the path of Kundalini. I've listened to things like Abraham Hicks as well. All of these are channeled beings, right? Now, channeling, right? If you don't believe in channeling, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, we want to hear what the channel is saying and test to see if it works for us. That's all we really care about. It's not about if channeling is true or not, which it is. It's fucking true. My girlfriend is a channel. I actually witness her channeling. She channels movement, and she also channels words as well. She channels sounds as well. This is a very well documented phenomena that in the next 20 years we're going to start to see, like, okay, channeling is a real deal. And yeah, but the point is, don't believe me. Go actually study it. Go find 20 different channels, listen to their information, and then judge for yourself whether it's true. It's not about that it's true because Adam said it's true. Go fucking figure it out for yourself. And one channel that I recommend checking out is Bashar. Excellent teacher. I love hearing Bashar speak. He's a great speaker. And I love a lot of the information that he shares about topics such as manifestation, creating what you want in your life, being the best version of yourself, self-actualization, aligning with your soul's deepest purpose, and actualizing that in physical reality. That's what we talk about here on this channel. So Bashar's been a very valuable resource for me. And one thing that Bashar brought to my attention in a very cool way that I enjoyed was what he calls the formula. And the formula is what I wanted to share with you in this video, which is the formula for living the best possible life. It's a very simple formula, and it goes like this. The formula for living the best possible life is to always follow your highest excitement on a moment-to-moment basis, to always act on the thing that feels the most exciting, that you're able to act on, without having an expectation for the outcome. So I'll say it again. What I like about Bashar is that he systematizes it and he makes it very clear. So it's a 3-part formula. Part 1, act on the thing that feels most exciting now. Part 2, take that thing as far as you possibly can for as long as it feels exciting until you can take it no further. Part 3, do not have an expectation for the outcome or how it should play out. This is what we're going to be breaking down for the rest of this video. I've been sharing this with my coaching clients. I've been acting on it myself, and it is deeply, deeply profound, extremely effective. And the reason why this works is because your higher mind, well, we'll get into the logic of it now. Let's start from the beginning. So just to simplify, very simple, what am I saying here? I'm saying to follow your excitement in each moment. Follow your heart. Follow your gut feeling. Follow your intuition. Trust your intuition. Trust the thing that feels right in the moment. Because that thing is going to work out for you. You might not know how, because reality is infinitely mysterious and complicated, and there's all sorts of things that could happen in this infinite mystery of reality. There's all kinds of variables that determine what the weather is going to be tomorrow. But one thing I do know is that when I follow my highest excitement in the moment, things tend to work out for me in a synchronistic, you could say magical sort of way. Why is this the case? So the way Bashar explains it, the way I like to think about it, is that you have a higher self or a soul. You can call it God. You can call it your higher mind. The way I like to conceive of this, you don't have to conceive of this in the exact way that I do, but you can think of God, all that is, infinity, infinite potentiality, as like a hand. The whole hand, everything is God. Okay, you're God. The trees outside are God. The ladybugs are everything. God is just a word that describes an infinitely intelligent, infinitely powerful fractal of infinite creation. And it's very difficult to explain. It's made of pure consciousness. God is like an infinite mind. And it's you. It's your mind. This infinite mind can fragment itself into an infinite number of different kinds of separations. Because what infinity means is that it is able to split itself up into an infinite amount of finite forms, including you, including your dog, including the ladybugs that are crawling on the branches outside, including subatomic particles, including galaxies and planets, and including different dimensions as well. Because infinite potentiality means that anything could exist. The reason why we say God is a mind, or that God is a consciousness, is because the mechanism of creation is imagination. The reason why the mechanism of creation is imagination is because imagination is not limited by physical laws. Imagination is, if you can think it, then it's real. If you can imagine, imagination is not limited by physical laws. It's not limited by anything, actually. And, well, actually, your human imagination, right, your ego's imagination is limited by what you believe is real, by physical laws, by your beliefs from your culture and from your parents and from your preconceived idea of what the earth is and what you are and what's possible and what's impossible. But there have been many amazing writers and speakers and storytellers who are very gifted in the realm of imagination, and they're able to conceive of things that the ordinary human can't conceive of. It's almost like they've unlocked their imagination, like J.R.R. Tolkien, for example, who wrote The Lord of the Rings. He conceived of an entirely different realm of Middle-earth with orcs and goblins and elves and hobbits and balrogs and dragons and all this stuff. So the way reality works, the way God works, is that it's an infinite mind that is not limited by any law of any kind. It's infinite. It can be anything. So that was a little bit of a rant. I'm going to drink some water because I'm a little bit thirsty. So Adam, great. Infinity is infinite in an infinite degree of different dimensions and realms. Fantastic. What does this have to do with my personal life? So the reason why I'm explaining this is because you could conceive of yourself as having a physical aspect and a non-physical aspect. You have a body and you could say, a soul. What is this soul? That's what I've been trying to explain. What is the soul? So if God's like a hand, the soul is like the finger. It's a separation of infinity. It's still part of infinity. So the finger's not separate from the hand. The soul isn't separate from God. You're God. You're everything, all of it, all at once. But you can also look at everything from a different perspective. You can look at the hand from a different perspective to isolate just the finger. So your soul is like a finger coming out of the hand of God. And this soul of yours has a specific plan for you, a specific blueprint, you could say, a specific set of principles and values and experiences that will fulfill your soul the most. Every single person is God, but every single person is a different flavor of God, a different expression of God. That's why we have completely different personality types, different brain functioning, different interests, different passions and strengths and skills. Your soul wants a certain experience out of this life. So one of the main jobs of doing self-actualization, one of the purposes of self-actualization is just digging deep into your soul and asking yourself, what do I authentically want to experience in this short lifetime? What kind of life do I want to live? What experiences do I want to have? How do we know which ones? We follow our highest excitement, because the only way the soul can communicate to the physical mind is normally through your feelings. When you feel excited about taking a certain path, that is the soul telling you, hey, go down this path, because that's going to lead you towards something that feels exciting for you, something that you want, something that will fulfill you deeply. Think of it like this. The soul is like standing on the mountaintop, has a bird's eye view of reality, and then the physical mind is like in the muck of it. It's like in the forest. The physical mind, the physical self, doesn't have a bird's eye view of reality, but it's kind of like in reality. It's dealing with like the physical things that are like right in front of your face. Like looking at each individual tree, whereas the soul is able to see the entire forest. You can imagine that the soul has a sort of like walkie-talkie that's like connected to you, and you're stuck in the forest, and the soul is standing on top of the mountain and is trying to navigate you through the forest to get to the oasis where you live in abundance and happiness and freedom and authenticity. The way the soul guides you with this walkie-talkie is by sending you Morse code or pings. The pings come in the form of feelings in your heart. This is called, Abraham Hicks calls this your emotional guidance system. So God, or your soul, or your higher self, speaks to you. It gives you signals through your heart. And it's a very simple system, actually. It's ingeniously designed. If you notice the way God designs reality, if you just look at like your human body, for example, it's infinitely complex, but it's also extremely simple as well. Because God kind of knows that when you're an ego, when you kind of like come into the flesh suit, right? The body, you come into the flesh suit, you need to have like it needs to be easy to use, right? The human body needs to function intuitively, right? If you notice, like the best design, if you're trying to design a website, or if you're trying to design some kind of contraption or gizmo, the best design is design that's easy to use, design that's intuitive, simple. In the back, it might be complicated. Like the back end of the website might have all kinds of servers and different plugins and attachments that make the website, function in the background. But in the front end of the website, it needs to be very simple. Like simple page, this is what you're going to get, click here. Simple. That's the best design. Like Apple's iPhones, for example, when the iPhone first came out. Yeah, the actual technology that's making the iPhone run is super complicated. There's a process in there, there's RAM, there's storage, there's memory, there's all this stuff. There's a screen, there's everything that makes this thing function. But when you're actually using it, when you're actually using this complicated system, it's intuitive and simple. There's one button. You just tap the app that you want to use. In the same way, that's how God has designed your body. When you need to take a shit, it's very simple. You don't need to, there's nothing complicated about taking a shit. You feel it. You feel excited to take a shit because my bowels are full of shit. It's very uncomfortable. It feels like it needs to come out. There's a lot of tension building up in my body. So I find somewhere to shit, squat down, I let it go. Release. Tension, release. What a simple, genius way to design life. Tension, release. You'll actually notice that every single biological system functions on the principles of tension and release. Everything. Sex, food, breathing. So simple. Super simple to use. So in the same way, on a sort of, you could call it a higher level, but it's not even really a higher level, your soul guides you through life. You know this, your soul uses your excitement to guide you, to show you where to go in your life in a way that will most benefit you. So now let's talk about the practical guide. How do you actually follow your highest excitement? How does it work? Like, how does it look on a day-to-day basis? So we got the theory out of the way. The practice is that, okay, so you wake up in the morning. What am I excited to do right now? What's the most exciting thing to do? There's all these options that I have. What feels the best? Which option just feels the best for me to do? Now immediately we have the problem where we don't even know what feels the best. Like, what if like watching porn feels the best first thing in the morning? Or it, like, how do I know what feels the best? Is it watching porn? Is it working out? Is it getting out of bed? Is it drinking water? Like, what's the one that feels the best? The way you know what feels the best is that when you imagine yourself doing it, if it doesn't feel good, if like you think you wake up in the morning, the first thing you think of is like to watch porn. But when you really think about it, if you really imagine yourself doing it, it's like, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't really feel right now. Maybe on a different day, it might feel great. It might feel like the best thing to do. Maybe on the weekend or whatever, when you have the whole day off and you're just taking a rest day. Sure, why not? Go ahead. Knock yourself out. But it's always contextual. It's contextual in the moment based on what feels good now. What feels exciting now. This is why a lot of personal development advice, a lot of it doesn't work. Because we try to apply it like a stupid monkey. Someone gives us a rule, like, oh, you should always exercise. Every single morning you should exercise. Okay, but what about that one day where I don't feel excited to exercise and I really don't want to exercise that one day? And my excitement instead is telling me just to go for a leisurely walk in the sun. In that scenario, it would be best to follow your excitement, to follow your intuition. Your intuition knows what's best for you in the moment. So a very practical, simple example we could do is like choosing what food to eat. What food should I eat today? So normally what people do is they have a preconceived idea of what food they should eat. It's like hand-me-down beliefs that they got from someone they saw online. They read an article on the internet that said that keto diet's the best diet, or their friend told them that keto diet's the best diet, or paleo diet's the best diet. So they take on this belief and they cling to it like an ideology, but they're not actually consciously aware of how their body feels in the moment. Your body knows what food it wants, but it's just a question of, are you listening? Are you actually listening? Are you open to receiving guidance from your own fucking body? Your body guides you. In each moment, it tells you what to do when you're picking food. If you're craving a salad, eat salad. If you think about going to, maybe like McDonald's, for example, and your whole body closes off and is like, please no, please let's not do that, then it's a no. But maybe on some occasions your body might say, yes, McDonald's, let's go. I'd love some McDonald's right now. Great, go. And this is where the formula comes in. You don't have an expectation for the outcome. So if I go to McDonald's, I don't know, like if my highest excitement is genuinely telling me to go to McDonald's, then that's the right thing to do. Always. It's always the right thing to do. If your highest excitement is telling you, you might have all these preconceived ideas like, but isn't McDonald's bad for me? Or, but I read about this one story of this guy that ate McDonald's for 30 days straight and then his organs hardened. There's too much sodium. There's too much. If your excitement tells you to do something, you follow. Because there is something that's going to come out of it that you can't predict ahead of time. Because your soul, your highest self, is standing on the mountaintop and is able to see the path ahead of you. Maybe, I'm just going to make this up, but maybe eating McDonald's is exactly what you need, because maybe, let's say the McDonald's hurts your stomach a little bit, and then it kind of causes you to, have diarrhea or throw up, and, you spend the entire night throwing up because of how terrible the McDonald's is for you. And you might say, well, Adam, well then clearly what you're teaching me isn't working because I spent the whole night throwing up. But then you have to zoom out and you have to think, this actually happened to me, where one night I actually had like a McDonald's. Well, I was with my brother, I was with my girlfriend. I was like, screw it, let's have McDonald's, right? So I had some McDonald's, and then the whole night I spent throwing up because it was that bad for my stomach. And in the moment, I was like, I'm never having McDonald's again. I made a huge mistake. I shouldn't have had McDonald's. But be very careful with how you interpret this, because if you're genuinely following your highest excitement, which I believe I was, then you have to really, really look and see, well, if I ate McDonald's and now I'm spent the whole night throwing up, that's actually a good thing, because now I'll never eat McDonald's ever again for the rest of my life. Now I actually learned through my experience that I don't like eating McDonald's. So the next time I won't feel excited to eat it. So your highest excitement guides you down the path of least resistance that teaches you the lessons you need to learn, introduces you to the people you need to meet, shows you the ideas you need to hear, in order to live in alignment with your highest self. And it uses the mechanism of synchronicity. Another example, one more example, okay? So imagine you decide that today you have to work on your business. Today's a work on my business day. So I'm going to ask myself, where do I don't feel excited to work on my business at home, at my desk, because the weather's really nice outside today. Instead, maybe I'll go for a walk and take my laptop with me and walk to the nearest Starbucks and just go sit at Starbucks and work on my business. That feels more exciting to do that. And then I feel good while I'm at Starbucks. I have my coffee with me. I feel bougie, got that Starbucks vibe. I feel good. I got a tall grande, venti, 2 pumps of chai, double oat milk latte, and I'm drinking that. I feel like a boss-ass bitch, and I'm drinking my latte, and now I feel good, and now the work I do on my laptop is even better. Where if I was working at home, and I don't even want to be at home, then my work isn't as good. But my work, the quality of it improves because I'm doing what feels exciting for me. So one of the main reasons why we're following our highest excitement isn't because the excitement always practically leads you to doing the thing you need to do, but if you understand how law of attraction works, sometimes if you do something that's exciting for you, for example, have a dance party, right? You might say, Adam, how does having a dance party contribute to me fulfilling my life purpose? Or how does having a dance party make me money or, practically fix my life? Like you claim that this formula is going to do for me. Well, think about it like this. If you have a dance party with yourself and you follow your highest excitement without any expectation for the outcome, and you take it as far as you possibly can, so you actually have a dance party. None of this two-step nonsense, but you're fucking busting down some disgusting moves. It could just be by yourself. But, you got your headphones on or, you're playing some music and you're actually having an actual dance party and you're letting everything out and you're dancing properly like you mean it. What that does, that improves your state. It allows you to let go of seriousness and tension and caring too much about the outcome of events. It allows you to feel abundant. It allows you to put you in an energy of gratitude and celebration. And then once you're in that energy, then you are resonating at the frequency of a high energy state of gratitude and excitement, which is a very high energy state. You're vibrating at the energy of love. And then from that state, you get insights and downloads and thoughts and ideas that correspond to the energetic state that you've just embodied through the vehicle of following your highest excitement. So it's not that the dance party contributed to my business, but it increased my state, my energetic state, made me feel good. And then while I was dancing, I felt so good that I felt abundant. I felt like the best version of myself. That gave me confidence to have an idea about some, business idea or some kind of product that I'm going to create or some video that I'm going to create or some kind of piece of art that I'm going to make or something. I got an insight for what I should do next in my life. So following your highest excitement synchronistically leads you down the path of least resistance towards living the most exciting, inspired, passionate life that is filled with this energy of celebration and gratitude and abundance. So more practical things. So, okay, Adam, great. How do I know what thing excites me the most? Like, what if I'm stuck between two things? So practically, in the moment, this moment, we can use this moment right now as an example. There's all kinds of things you could be doing right now. You could continue listening to me. You could go for a walk. You could, I don't know, check your phone, change your apps, go on a different app. You can do all kinds of things you can do. You could jump up and down, roll around, call your friend, book a flight ticket. You can, all kinds of things you can do. Just pick the one that feels the most exciting and that feels the most good to you. That when you think about it, it doesn't make you feel closed and scared. Because you might say, well, Adam, what if I'm afraid to follow my highest excitement? Well, you're not understanding that if you're to take an action in the moment, like to go for a walk, example, if taking that action makes you feel afraid, then that's not your highest excitement. There's probably something else that feels more exciting. Do that. Now, you also want to be careful that you're not arbitrarily blocking yourself from following your highest excitement, because sometimes you have the genuine excitement to go for a walk, but then a thought will block you and say like, oh, but I can't afford to go for a walk right now. I need to stay home and make money, because I work from home. Or I can't afford to go for a walk right now because I need to, do the laundry, right? But you're not excited to do the laundry right now. You're more excited to go for a walk. In this case, you are not understanding the principles of the formula, which is that your higher self is standing on the mountaintop and is showing you, hey, now's not the right time to do the laundry. Now is the right time to go for a walk. Because of there's too many variables. There's too many factors to consider. Your higher self is standing on the mountaintop, can see the path ahead of you, and is seeing that if you go for a walk right now, you feel good about it, something good's going to happen. And remember that we're doing this on a moment-to-moment basis. So while you're on your walk, which path do you feel the most excited to walk? Left or right? Which one? And then you might say, well, Adam, both left and right feel the same. I don't know. They're both exciting to me. Okay, so in this scenario, you might as well just flip a coin. Because if two paths are equally exciting, it literally doesn't matter. Just pick one of them. Because in the event that you pick path A, if it's the right path, then you'll continue feeling excited to continue going down it. But if it's the wrong path, then you'll be made aware of that very quickly, where you'll take path A and then you'll think to yourself, fuck, I wish I took path B. So by choosing, you now are more clear about what your real authentic excitement is. Then now you can make a new decision to pick path B. So we're always following our highest excitement on a moment-to-moment basis. This is picking what clothes to wear. Which clothes feel the most exciting to wear? Did you know, fun fact, that each day of the week is ruled by a different planetary energy in astrology? And wearing certain colors on certain days at certain times, because reality is motherfucking infinite, and there's an infinite number of variables that goes into every single little micro decision that you make. If you, let's say, pick a certain color to wear on a certain day, that could affect your energetic state. That could affect how you feel that day. That could affect your chakra system. That could affect your mood. That could affect the way other people respond to you. You know that color therapy is a thing. By, let's say, wearing certain colors, for example, that could aid in the process of healing, let's say, your solar plexus chakra, for example. You're wearing a yellow shirt, that helps to boost your solar plexus, which helps to boost the energy of direction and action and confidence. So that's what I'm saying here. I'm saying that when you follow your highest excitement, we have to trust that reality is so infinite that my physical mind isn't able to crunch all of the variables about what's going on here in life. It's like, you know how your heart is beating right now, but you're not consciously beating your heart? It's just beating for you. You don't have to consciously beat it. Because if I had to consciously manage every single biological process that's going on, I had to actually think about pumping the blood throughout my body and making sure that I breathe air so that my blood is oxygenated. If I had to manually do that, that would be a gigantic waste of energy. I'm not able to process all of that information. It's too much. I don't know what my pancreas is doing right now. I just kind of let it handle itself, because I realize my body's a complicated system. I just kind of trust that my body kind of knows how to manage itself, because it has the wisdom of billions of years of evolution. So I just kind of trust that God kind of figured it out and got it right. And I'll just kind of when I cut myself, I'll trust that it's going to heal. In the exact same way, when we're taking an action that's in alignment with our highest excitement, we just gotta kind of trust that God designed the emotional guidance system in a way that it just works. It just works. And hey, if you don't believe me that it works, here's a way that you can test it. So use the formula, which is always do the thing that feels the most exciting first. Do the thing that feels the most exciting to you first. Don't do it later. Do it now, because that's your higher mind telling you that if the thing feels exciting to do now, do it now. Take it as far as you can until you can't take it any farther. If there's a physical block, like if you're walking down a path and the path is physically blocked, you can't walk any farther. That means you can't take your excitement down that path. You need to pick a new path. That's the next most exciting path to take. If you physically can't do something, then don't worry about it. That just means you're not able to right now. It's not the time right now. Do the thing you can take action on. Pick the thing that's the next most exciting that you can take action on. Take it as far as you can without having an expectation for what the outcome should be. Trusting that whatever the outcome is, it will serve your highest goals. How can you mess this up? There's a few ways to mess it up. The first way to mess this up is by not being aware of the way you interpret events in your life. So, practical examples. So, let's say my highest excitement leads me to smoking some cannabis. Let's just say. Smoke some cannabis, and that means that I have to take the day off of work, let's just say. I can still work pretty well when I'm high on cannabis, like if I'm doing like logistical things, but most of the time I prefer to work when I'm sober. So let's say I do some work in the morning, and then later in the evening I decide, okay, I'm done work for the day, I'm going to smoke a joint with my girlfriend or just by myself. I love doing that. It makes me happy. Sometimes I'm excited to do that, so there's no problem. Then I smoke the joint, and then I, let's say, get a lot of good ideas for my business like I usually do. And then that, I just follow my highest excitement, and that leads me to like staying up late, let's say. Let's say I end up staying up till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I wake up tired the next day, and it's kind of harder for me to get the ball rolling on my business, let's say, the next day. Sometimes that happens. Usually that doesn't happen because I'm following my highest excitement in each moment. So if I'm a little bit sluggish the next day, okay, maybe my highest excitement is to sleep in a little bit more, or to just go for a walk and relax a little bit. I mean, that's my highest excitement. So this is always a moment-to-moment thing. Remember, the trap would be to interpret the event of smoking the joint as a negative thing. So if you follow your highest excitement, right, if you're genuinely following your actual highest excitement, by definition, everything that happens after that is a positive thing. And it's actually your job to try to see how it's a possible thing, how it's a positive thing. This is called the advantage method, another thing that I talk to my coaching clients about in my coaching program. The advantage method is every single event that occurs in your life, it's your job to label it as a positive thing. And there's many ways that you can do this. You can just zoom out and really contemplate. When something bad that you think is bad, when something bad happens, try to look for ways how it could be good, but you're just not seeing it. So again, I smoke a joint, stay up late, tired the next day. How could this be a good thing? Well, maybe now that I'm the next day I'm, not working as hard because I'm really tired and sluggish, maybe that is good because I'll take the day off. And then maybe I'll go for a walk in nature. And then as I'm relaxing and chilling out and not forcing myself to work, I get a great idea and I feel calm. And then when I go home later, I feel excited to execute on that idea, and then I execute on the idea. And I wouldn't have had that idea unless I took the day off and relaxed. So smoking that joint the night before, in the grand scheme of things, was a good thing. If you're genuinely following your highest excitement, things will work for you. And it's a moment-to-moment thing. So don't worry about the past. If you, let's say you forgot to follow your highest excitement yesterday, okay, so that has nothing to do, so what? That's actually, you can even label that as a good thing, because now you're aware that you didn't follow your highest excitement, and then you can contemplate why. Why didn't I follow my highest excitement yesterday? Oh, because I was too afraid of what other people were thinking of me. I was being a people pleaser. I was considering other people's needs before my own needs. I wasn't being authentic, and I wasn't trusting what I genuinely wanted. So one of my coaching clients, her friends invited her out, and she went out even though she authentically was excited to stay home. She didn't want to go out, but she went out anyways. So we talked about it the next week, and we said, well, why did you do that? And then we went into that. And then we realized that she has a very deep people-pleasing complex. So we looked into that, and we kind of broke it apart, and we contemplated where that comes from and why that happens. And which obviously I'll have to talk about in another video because we're running out of time. But then, so her not following her highest excitement in that moment ended up being a good thing because it helped her gain more clarity about what's blocking her from following her highest excitement. And I want you to be very serious about this following your highest excitement thing, because if something's preventing you from, usually it's a psychological thing, but if something's preventing you from like doing what you're genuinely passionate about in this moment now, and I'm not only talking about a career, I'm not only talking about like living your life purpose or making art, I'm talking about anything. I'm talking about picking the restaurant that you want. If you're being a people pleaser, or if you're not trusting your highest excitement, or if you're not trusting the universe to take care of you, then that's the thing that's blocking you from living in alignment with the energy of excitement. That's the highest energy. That energy is in alignment with your highest self. That frequency of excitement, that's your authentic frequency. That's who you really are. So if you're not trusting that, or you're dismissing that, be aware of why you're dismissing that, because if you can let go of that thing that's blocking you, that's the thing that stands in between you and embodying the frequency of being your true self. That's what you want. I hope you know that. I hope you know that what you want is to be your highest self. You want to live in alignment with your soul's blueprint, what your soul wants. Your soul knows what you want. It comes in the form of excitement. Another question. So Adam, what is this? How do I use visualization in conjunction with following your highest excitement? So one of the, I recommend visualizing your ideal reality. I've spoken about that in other videos, like in the Platt Technique video that I talked about, where we visualize our highest timeline. We visualize living the life that we want to live most authentically in our heart. And we visualize it as if it's real now. Very powerful technique. Why does visualization work so well? Feeling what I want to have as if it's already real now for me and enjoying it. Why does that work? The reason why that works is visualization is not about creating that specific thing that you visualized. Visualization is about pumping up your state, pumping up your energetic state so that you can live in alignment with your authentic self now, the self who's not needy, lacking, chasing after things that you don't have. Your authentic self is abundant because your authentic self knows who you really are, which is infinite abundance. It's infinity. It's God. Your authentic self knows your value, which is infinite value. Your authentic self knows that you have everything because you are everything. Your authentic self isn't lacking anything. So when we feel that the thing that I'm lacking, if I feel that I already have it now, that's actually a very clever way to let go of wanting, to let go of desire. Switch from wanting to having. And that's enlightenment. That increases your energetic state. All right. So after you visualize your peak experience, living the ideal life scenario that you want to live in, you visualize the details of it, taking it as far as you possibly can until you've gotten to the peak of excitement, then let go of the visualization, but keep the feeling state, and then act on the next most exciting thing that you have the ability to act on in this moment without having an expectation for the outcome. That is the formula for creating the highest abundance in your life, regardless of, it doesn't matter what financial situation you're in. Trust me, it doesn't matter what financial situation you're in. I know. I've been in debt, right? Like, no money, not able to pay my rent. And then you follow this formula and I just trust it. This is one of the main ways how I discovered this formula is I was backed into a corner financially. And I learned how to trust the guidance of my highest self. So that was a good thing. And within a very short period of time, I followed my highest excitement, trusted, and I've been receiving an abundance of coaching clients to the point where I can't take on any more clients. So I'm having to increase my prices and create courses so that I can coach more people at once. So I'm not worrying about money anymore. And the reason why is because I actually just trusted that this formula works. And it took me a long time. It took me like years to figure this out, studying hundreds of different perspectives, checking all the corners. Guys, I've checked all the corners. This is the real deal, what I just shared with you. But hey, don't believe me. I want you to test it for yourself and your experience. Test to see that what I've said in this video is true. Try the formula, apply it for yourself, and then see what happens. Tell me about the magic synchronicity that happens right after you decide to follow your highest excitement. All of a sudden, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people, with the right information that you needed, and everything's working out best case scenario for you. Don't doubt that this formula won't work. This is a complete formula. It works because it's based on the truth of now. That in each now moment, something feels the most exciting. Do that now. And then the next moment, do it again now. And then do it again now. So the now is always here. That's why this works. Because it's a moment-to-moment thing. The reason why this formula works is because it's fluid, it changes, it morphs and evolves. It's contextual. This formula is not like me telling you a morning routine or me telling you a meditation practice. Those are good. Those are good sometimes. You can try if you're excited to do the meditation practice, or if you're excited to do the morning routine, then sure, go ahead. But life always changes. It's a flow. It's a dance. What if the meditation that is practical and relevant on Tuesday might be a little bit different on Wednesday, for example. So that's why the formula works, because it's a meta principle. It works in each moment. Maybe meditation's a bad example, because meditation also works in each moment, because meditation, again, is just being aware of what's happening now. In each moment, you can meditate and be aware. So meditation's also a meta thing. The highest excitement is also a meta thing, meaning that it's not like a specific technique. It's not like a specific set of actions that I'm giving you, because those are different for certain people. You know, it might work better for one person than for someone else, depending on where they're at in their life. So all personal development advice is contextual based on where you're at in your life. But this is a meta piece of advice. This advice will work for you, because all I'm asking you to do is to listen to your higher self, to decide what action to take in each moment. That's why it always works. That's why it's a complete kit. That's why there's nothing missing here. So test this out for yourself. See if it works. Watch your interpretations. If you follow your highest excitement, and then you come and say, Adam, I followed my highest excitement and it led me into a ditch. So what the hell? And then I'd ask you, okay, so you're in a ditch now, so now what's the next most exciting thing to do? And do that. That's probably the way out of the ditch. Maybe you needed to fall into the ditch so that you could learn a deep lesson about your personality type, so that you can have an insight about your life purpose. Who knows? You don't know if this falling into a ditch is a bad thing. Who said that was a bad thing? What if it was a good thing? How do you know? So watch your interpretations of events that happen. Watch, when you interpret an event as being negative, then it will be a negative event. But if you interpret the event as positive, then you can take the positive from everything that happens. You might say, well, Adam, now I'm just lying to myself. Now I'm just being, a hippie new age quack, and I'm just making up things that, aren't actually good for me, but I'm just, trying to rationalize it to myself as being good for me. I'm not saying to make stuff up. I'm saying to verify it in your experience. So when something bad happens, actually verify in your experience how it was actually good. Don't just fucking stay in your mind and just blindly make up random examples. Oh, maybe it's good. Oh, you skip around. No. Actually see, I broke my leg, let's say. How could this be good? And in each moment, observe the benefits that are coming from this event. Oh, now I have more time to self-reflect. Now I'm more grateful for my life. Now I'm more grateful for my ability to walk. Now that I broke my leg, after this heals, I'll every step I take for the rest of my life, I'm going to be grateful for that. And that's true. That's not, I didn't make that up. We're not rationalizing stuff. We have to confirm it. So this is the difference between affirmations and confirmations. Affirmations is just like, oh, I'm confident. I'm confident. You just kind of say it because you don't actually feel confident. So you just say like, I'm confident. You just try to like repeat it to yourself over and over again in order to like trick yourself into thinking you're confident. A confirmation is to actually be confident in a specific scenario or circumstance, and then to confirm to yourself, yes, I'm confident because I just was confident right there. It's confirmed in my experience. Be confident in the way that you cook your food, for example. Be confident about the recipe that you choose. And then tell yourself that I'm confident. So what I'm saying here is that like you need to confirm in your experience whether or not the excitement formula is working for you. You need to test and see. And all I'm saying is to be careful that if you think that it's not working, double check to see maybe it is working, but you're just too stupid to see it. You're too short-sighted. You're too simple-minded. You need to look for the advantage in every situation. All right, guys, hope you liked this video. This was a long rant. If you're interested in working more closely with me and applying this mindset in your life to completely transform your energetic state, which will change your life from the inside out, then check out the Conscious Creator Program. You can apply at the link in the description. Like I said, I actually don't have many spots for one-on-one right now. However, I do have a different package that includes a coaching program as well, like a course. So you can check that out if you're interested. Also, I have a brand new website that I've been working on, which is why I haven't uploaded in a few weeks, because I've just been like banging out this website. It's going to be launched in a few days, so check that out. Maybe if you're watching this in the future, you can check out my website that has my newsletter as well, my weekly newsletter where I share deep insights about the nature of reality, life, personal development, how to be the best version of yourself, how to live in alignment with your highest self, how to self-actualize yourself and become the best version of yourself to get the most out of your life, how to understand the nature of reality at a very deep level so that you can actually apply your understanding to living the best life possible. So check all that stuff out, and I'll see you in the next video.